This video is going to be geared towards new players who are starting their Pokemon GO journey in the year 2023. If you just started playing Pokemon GO, or you are coming back to the game after several years, then you are at the right place. I'm going to be going over all of the basics you need to know when it comes to this highly popular and timeless game. Right, so let's roll the intro and get right into it. Pokemon GO is an augmented reality mobile game that has been around for several years. The game has evolved and changed over time, but the fundamentals remained relatively the same. There are constantly new players joining the game, and the learning curve is pretty steep. Hopefully, this guide will help you understand the basics of the game so that you have everything you need for your Pokemon GO journey. There are several resources and currencies you need to think about and manage as you play Pokemon GO. First, there is Stardust, which is the resource that is required for game progression. Think of it as the game's lifeblood. The more of it you have, the further you are able to progress in the game. Next up is Experience Points. This is another resource that is required for game progression, but it is very specific to your trainer level. I'll go over this in more detail later. Third, there's Pokecoins, which is the premium currency of this game. This is the currency that you use to buy premium items in the Pokestop, and getting it will require a real money purchase or through gym battling. We'll get into that in a bit. And finally, there is Pokemon Candy. This is a resource that is specific to each Pokemon, and you will need it for various things that we will get into. Collecting each of these resources is what you need to do while playing Pokemon GO. This is how your collection of Pokemon grows, how you get stronger as a player, and how you open up more aspects of the game. Okay, now that I covered all of that, let's now get into how to play Pokemon GO. The gameplay of Pokemon GO is fairly simple. You spin Pokestops to get Pokeballs, you then use those Pokeballs to catch Pokemon, you power up those Pokemon to get stronger, you then use them in raids, which then allows you to get rare, legendary, and mythical Pokemon. As your collection grows, you can then engage in more advanced gameplay like player versus player battles and Team Go Rocket battles. There is also something called gym battling, which is extremely important. It's a form of player versus player gameplay that is a little bit more casual and laid back, yet is your only way to get Pokecoins for free. I'll get more into that later on in this video, but first, let's go over the fundamentals. The most important thing you need to be doing as a Pokemon GO player is catch Pokemon. This is the crux of the entire game. As your collection of Pokemon grows, the more you are able to engage in various forms of gameplay like raiding, player versus player battling, and, of course, gym battles. When you open up your game, you should see Pokemon appearing on the screen. If you don't see any Pokemon, then you will need to move around and explore until you do. Now, when you encounter the Pokemon, tap on it. You will then be taken to the encounter screen. What you should do is turn off AR at the top so that it will make catching the Pokemon much easier. Now, you should catch all of the Pokemon you see. Regardless if you had already caught the Pokemon, you should always try to catch it for a number of different reasons. First, each Pokemon you catch gives you candies of that Pokemon. You use these candies to power up, evolve, and a whole bunch more related to that Pokemon. This is super important because certain Pokemon are only available through evolutions, and you will need to get a ton of candy in order to evolve into them. The second reason why you need to catch Pokemon, even if you have it already, is because of the Stardust and experience. You will need Stardust for much of the same reasons you need candy, as it is a resource that is used to power up your Pokemon to make them stronger. In order to power up a Pokemon, go to the Pokemon you want to make stronger and tap on the Power Up button. You can only power up a Pokemon up to a certain point, which is determined by your own personal trainer level. This is also permanent, and there is no way to refund any Stardust or candy you spend. Therefore, make sure you are very selective of which Pokemon you power up. Also, pretty much every Pokemon you catch will give you experience points. As you collect experience points from catching Pokemon, your personal trainer level will go up, which will give you various rewards and allow you to power up your Pokemon further and further. Finally, the third reason why you need to catch every Pokemon, even if you already have it, is because each Pokemon has different appraisal values, and the one you currently have could be weaker than another you catch down the road. In order to see if a Pokemon is stronger or weaker than one you previously caught, go to your Pokemon storage, tap on the Pokemon, hit the button on the bottom right and press Appraisal. You will see 3 meters pop up on the bottom left and a star rating. You will want each meter to be filled up as far as possible. If all 3 are filled up, that is what is typically called a perfect IV. These are going to be the best version of that particular Pokemon, and it will remain unchanged even if you power it up or evolve it. My personal tip is that you always save any Pokemon that is a perfect IV or close, no matter what it is. These are going to be the best ones to use for raid battles, Team Go Rocket battles, and gym battles. Thus, they are the ones you should always power up and evolve. Of course, do keep in mind that you will rarely ever come across a perfect IV Pokemon, so don't expect them often. However, this is going to be a higher priority for advanced players. If you are just starting the game, you don't have to worry about the appraisal button all too much. Okay, now that we covered catching Pokemon, let's now go over Pokéstops and Gyms. When it comes to the gameplay loop of Pokémon GO, this is how it looks. First, you spin Pokéstops for Pokéballs, you then use those Pokéballs to catch Pokemon, you then spin more Pokéstops for more Pokéballs to catch even more Pokemon. Thus, in order to keep your gameplay going, it is absolutely imperative that you are always spinning Pokéstops for Pokéballs and various items. There are 2 kinds of Pokéstops that will grant you items. The first is the generic Pokéstop, and it looks like this. These will get you 3 items once you spin the photo disc. It will then turn the color purple, indicating that it was recently spun, and you will need to wait 5 minutes before it could be spun again, which will be indicated by it turning blue. Don't forget that in order for you to be able to spin the photo disc, you will need to be in range of it. You will know when you are close enough to the Pokéstop when you see the little cube at the top of it transform into a large disc. Now, the second kind of Pokéstop is a little bit more complex. These are what is called gyms, and they are essentially an enhanced Pokéstop that could potentially give you more items. These are also where you engage in gym battles and raid battles, but more on that later. In order to get items from a gym, you will need to tap on this icon in the bottom right corner, which will take you to the photo disc of that gym. These function just like the photo disc of regular Pokéstops, but they can give you more items depending on what team is controlling the gym and whether or not you have a Pokemon defending it. Speaking of which, let's now go over gym battles. This will likely be your first foray into player versus player gameplay, and it is pretty laid back, so you don't have to worry if you are good enough. Gyms are often controlled by one of 3 teams, blue for Mystic, yellow for Instinct, and red for Valor. Joining a team is not complex, as you will be able to choose your team after reaching a gym for the first time. If you are a member of the controlling team, you can insert a Pokemon to defend that gym alongside other players. Keep in mind that there is a limit to how many defenders can be in a gym, so even if your team is controlling the gym, you may not be able to add a Pokemon to defend it if there are already 6 defenders. Now, if the gym is controlled by a different team than yours, you can attack the gym in order to gain control of it. Simply tap on this button, select the Pokemon you want to use in battle, and you are off to the races. Gym battling is pretty straightforward. Your attackers will go up against the gym's defenders. In order to attack, you need to repeatedly tap on the screen. As you are hitting the opponents with each tap, you are generating energy towards an extra powerful charge attack, which are indicated by these icons. Once they turn solid, tap on those icons and you will unleash a powerful attack. Once you defeat a gym defender, you will see a heart icon deplete a little bit. The less filled in the heart icon, the less powerful that gym defender will be. If there is still a little bit of red in the heart icon after completing the battle, you will need to fight it again until it is fully depleted. Once you fully deplete the heart icon of every defender in that gym, you will now be able to claim it for your team. The gym will turn gray and a new icon will appear. Click on that icon and select a Pokemon. That Pokemon will then be slotted in as a defender. Attacking gyms can be crucial for you to get ahead in this game, but I would suggest holding off on doing this until you have powered up a good number of Pokemon. Now that we covered gym battles, let's now talk about items. There are 4 different categories of items that you need to know: Pokeballs, battle items, berries, and premium items. Let's first talk about Pokeballs. There are currently 5 different kinds of balls in the game. They are the regular Pokeball, Great Ball, Ultra Ball, Premier Ball, and the Beast Ball. Pokeballs are your generic balls that you get from spinning photo discs. They are extremely common and will be the ball you will likely use the most. Next, there's the Great Ball. This item is colored blue and red, and has a higher chance of catching the Pokemon over a regular Pokeball when you use it. These are also obtainable from photo discs after you hit trainer level 12, but they are pretty uncommon. Finally, there's the Ultra Ball. This item is colored yellow and black, and gives you the highest chance of catching the Pokemon over a regular Pokeball and the Great Ball. You can get them from spinning photo discs after you hit trainer level 20, and they are quite rare. There are also specialty balls that are specific to Pokemon you encounter from raids and Team Go Rocket battles. The first of these is the Premier Ball, which has the same catch rate as Pokeballs. The second of these is the Beast Ball, which you can only get during Ultra Beast encounters during special events, and they have a guaranteed catch rate. If all of that went over your head, don't worry about it. It's something you will learn once you've advanced a bit as a player. Pokeballs are items that you constantly need to have in stock. They are necessary for you to catch Pokemon. This is why the game needs you to constantly be spinning photo discs from Pokéstops and Gyms. Otherwise, you will run out of this crucial item. By the way, don't ever buy Pokeballs in the Pokeshop. This is the worst way to spend your Pokecoins. Next, let's talk about battle items. These include potions, super potions, hyper potions, and max potions. There are also revives and max revives as well. Getting these items will only be important if you are actively engaging in gym battles, raid battles, and Team Go Rocket battles. When your Pokemon are dealt damage or knocked out, you will need these items in order to restore those Pokemon so that they can be used again. Potions will restore health, while revives will bring your knocked out Pokemon back to life. Now, the third category of items are berries. These include raspberries, nanap berries, pineapple berries, golden raspberries, and silver pineapple berries. Each of these berries have 3 specific functions. 1. They will enhance your ability to catch a Pokemon or alter the outcome. 2. They can be used to feed your gym defenders. And 3. They can be used to collect hearts from Buddy Adventure. The latter we will discuss in a future video, but I want to talk about the first 2 functions. First, if you use berries in the catch screen of a Pokemon, you will get certain benefits added to your next ball throw. Raspberries increase the chance that the Pokemon will stay in the ball. Nanap berries will calm the Pokemon so that it stays more still. Pineapple berries will double the amount of candy you get if it is caught. Golden raspberries will greatly increase the chance that the Pokemon will stay in the ball. And silver pineapple berries will double the amount of candy you get +1. Also, silver pineapple berries will slightly increase the chance that the Pokemon will stay in the ball. Think of it as a combination of a regular raspberry and a pineapple berry. Now, the second function of berries is related to gym battles. When you have defenders in a gym, you can keep them in the gym longer by feeding them berries. You can do this by clicking on your defending Pokemon, selecting the berry you want to feed it, and tapping on the berry. You should see the berry fly towards your defending Pokemon, and the heart above its head will fill up just a little bit. If you feed it a golden raspberry or silver pineapple berry, the heart will fill up to full in one go. You will also get a little bit of Stardust for every berry you feed. Keep in mind that you have a limit to how many berries you can feed to gym defenders, but this limit will reset every 30 minutes. Now, the last category of items are going to be premium items. There is a huge list of items that belong in this category, and they all serve different functions. Some of them you can get from just playing the game, but others will require a paid money purchase. There's a lot of items in this category, but newer players only have to worry about 3 of them: incense, incubators, and lucky eggs. Incense is an item that will spawn 1 additional Pokemon at your location every 5 minutes. However, if you are actively walking in a direction, you will see a Pokemon every 1 minute. This is actually pretty important for newer players. You can get yourself a ton of Pokemon in a small window of time by continuously using this item. But make sure you set aside some time to catch every Pokemon that spawns during the item duration. These Pokemon from Incense will have a pinkish smog around them on the map. Now, the next premium item I want to talk about is Lucky Eggs. This item will double the amount of experience points you get while it is active. It is absolutely imperative that you are using Lucky Eggs as a newer player. However, you will want to use them in the right circumstance. The best time to use Lucky Eggs is when you are raiding multiple raids in a short time, or when you're about to hit Ultra or Best Friends with someone in your friends list. Don't worry about that latter instance, however, because that is more for advanced players. Okay, now I want to talk about incubators and egg hatching. This is definitely an important part of the game that not a lot of players pay attention to. As a newer player, you need to be hatching eggs on the regular. You get eggs when you spin photo discs at Pokéstops and Gyms, and you can access them by tapping on this tab in the Pokemon storage screen. In order to hatch eggs, you need to use incubators on them and walk the required kilometer distance. There are 3 different kinds of incubators. The first is the free unlimited incubator. There is no limit to how many times you can use it, but you can only use it 1 egg at a time. The second kind of incubator is the limited incubator, which you can get with Pokecoins. These incubators are exactly like the free unlimited incubator, but you will only have typically 3 charges with each of them. Finally, the third kind of incubator is the super incubator. This is exactly like the limited incubator, but it will hatch the egg about 33% faster. Now, the reason why you will want multiple incubators is so that you can hatch multiple eggs at the same time. You should use your unlimited incubator on short distance eggs, and then use your limited and super incubators on longer distance eggs. There are several different kinds of eggs, each with their own walking distance requirement. Depending on the distance, the Pokemon that you get from hatching the egg could be more rare and more powerful. There are also some Pokemon that are exclusive to certain eggs, so that's something you should keep in mind. Here are the kinds of eggs you can come across. The first is 2km eggs, which have green dots on them. These are easy to hatch, and they will typically only have common Pokemon. I suggest only using your unlimited incubators on them. The next is 5km eggs, which have yellow dots on them. These are a little bit more difficult to hatch, and they will typically have uncommon Pokemon. I suggest only using your unlimited incubator or limited incubators in order to hatch these. Next, there is the 7km egg, which is a yellow egg with pink dots. This egg is only obtainable from opening gifts from your friends. They typically have exclusive Pokemon or fairly common Pokemon depending on the in-game event. I would only use your unlimited or limited incubators on them. Next up, there is the 10km egg, which has purple dots. These typically contain really powerful or super rare Pokemon, and walking 10km eggs in order to hatch them is quite difficult and long. I suggest using your super incubators on these eggs, which will cut down the walking distance requirement down to 6.6 kilometers. Finally, there is the 12km egg, which has red dots. These you can obtain from defeating the Team Go Rocket leaders, which are extremely difficult and something that newer players won't be able to defeat. Thus, I wouldn't worry about these particular eggs until you've progressed further as a player. So yeah, there is your rundown on incubators and egg hatching. Again, it is extremely important that you are always hatching eggs. Use your unlimited incubator as often as you can, and also consider saving up Pokecoins in order to buy incubator bundles in the Pokeshop. Also keep in mind that you could get limited incubators from leveling up your trainer level. Finally, let's talk about the thing that I've been constantly referring to in this video, raiding. This is another major crux of Pokemon GO's gameplay, and it's one of the main reasons why you collect and power up Pokemon. Every now and then, you will see an egg appear on the top of a gym. Once it hatches, a Pokemon will appear where that egg was, and a timer will be above its head. This is a raid boss. Raid bosses are kind of like a gym defender, only it is extremely difficult and will often require more than one trainer in order to defeat. These bosses come in 4 difficulty tiers: 1 star, 3 star, mega, and 5 star. There are also various specialty raid tiers that you won't see often, as they are typically tied to special events. These are pretty advanced in terms of difficulty, but could be around the same level as 5-star raids. The gameplay of raid battles is pretty much identical to attacking a gym. When you join a raid battle, you will be put into a raid lobby, where players can join in and battle the boss alongside you. The more players that join the lobby, the easier the raid boss will be. Now, in order to participate in a raid battle, you need raid passes. Remember when I said Pokecoins are an important resource? Well, you need Pokecoins in order to buy raid passes. You can also get 1 free raid pass every day when you spin a gym's photo disc, but you can only hold 1 at a time. The free raid pass is colored orange, and the purchased raid passes from the Pokeshop are colored green. Whenever you join a raid battle, you'll be using one of these items. There is also a blue colored raid pass that is for remote raiding. You can only hold 5 of these at a time, and they are only usable for joining raids that are far away. One very important tip regarding raid battles is that you need to gauge which tier is right for you based on your current trainer level. If you are new to the game, I suggest only doing tier 1 raids, which are the pink colored eggs. If you are around trainer level 20, you should go for the tier 3 raids, which are the yellow colored eggs. And if you are around trainer level 30, then it is a good time to try tier 5 and mega raids. Of course, you can do any tier of raid battles at any level, but the higher tiers are going to be extremely difficult for you if you are still a low trainer level. If that is the case, you will likely need other higher level players to be in the lobby. Typically, I would say for tier 1 raids, you could do it with 1 medium level player. For tier 3 raids, you could do it with 2 medium to high level players. And for tier 5 and mega raids, you will need more than 4 high level players, possibly even more. But yeah, you should be raiding as much as you can. Not only is it a fast way to get a ton of experience points, but it is where you can get some of the rarest and most powerful Pokemon in the game. So there you have it, these were the basics of Pokemon Go. There was a lot that I didn't cover, like player versus player battles, Team Go Rocket, buddy adventure, etc. I'll cover these topics in a guide video for more advanced players. This video is the first in a series of videos that I plan to make in 2023 that will cover all of the different fundamental aspects of Pokemon Go. So, if you want a good resource for everything regarding this game, then head over to my YouTube channel and look for that playlist. And yeah, with that said, that's going to be it for this video. If you ended up enjoying it and found it to be helpful, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here, and don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, big or small, then be sure to check out the links in the description below. For all my patrons, they get a permanent spot on my in-game friends list, so if you want to interact with me in some way, like with remote raids, then do consider becoming a patron on my Patreon. But yeah, that's going to be it. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.